break, and I trust we enjoyed our break. So we'll quickly look at HRM functions, or perhaps HRM process groups rather. We've looked at the functions, we've looked at the imaging functions, we've looked at the basic functions, imaging functions. So now let's quickly look at the HRM process groups. The HRM process groups. So the HRM processes talks about the series of activities, the series of the lines of action within the HR environment. That's what it talks about. However, these processes are many. So what we can do is to group them. Okay, so by grouping them, to help us to understand the HR processes in a simpler way. And that's what we've done. So we'll discuss HRM process group through the HRM processes through the breakdown of the process groups, or by grouping them into process groups. So we have the strategic processes, talent management processes, employee performance processes, compensation and benefit processes, employee relations and compliance processes, HR technology processes, transition processes. Please note that this is not exhaustive. So there you could see there are still spaces. If you find any other HR process, you can try to fit them to where they belong to. Okay. If you find any other HR process, you can try to put them where they belong to. All right. Now, under the strategic processes, we have the HR strategy, succession planning, and organizational development. That's strategic processes. Under the talent management processes, we have recruitment and selection, onboarding, training and development, career development, leadership development. Okay. In Nigeria, recently, in the Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation, they introduced the Leadership Development Department. So there is a department there now that is responsible for leadership development. I think their director, the acting director, 2021, 2022, he passed through IIPM, he passed through our programs. Okay, but he has retired now. Okay, he has retired now. So that's part of the talent management process. Then we have the employee performance processes. Under the employee performance process, we have the performance management, performance appraisal, employee engagement, all of that. Then we have the compensation and benefits processes. So you have compensation and benefits. Okay, so maybe part of the things we can also add here is the payroll administration. Payroll administration under compensation and benefits management, although somebody could argue that it should be under HR technology process, but we'll put it under compensation, but that's payroll administration. So you can add that. When you get the material, you can add it under the compensation, but that's payroll administration. Okay. Then we have employee relations and compliance. So we have the employee relations, compliance, health and safety, legal compliance. You have the HR technology processes, where you have the HR information system management, and then you have the HR analytics. But moving forward, like I said, now we have the artificial intelligence in HR. So robotics and all of that, we can also put them there. Okay. Like I said, HR is a going concern. It's not limited. Okay, we keep adding. So now we have employee experience, which is part of employee relations. So we didn't put it, we can put it also there. Employee experience, designing a good employee experience. Okay. And I've just mentioned the artificial intelligence, the AI, robotics, and all of that. We'll also put them there. Then the transition processes. You have exit management. Okay, I'm sure part of the exit management, you have the retirement planning and all of that. Okay. All right. Now let's quickly see what we have in each of these groups. Okay. Okay, I think this system is hanging. Okay, so please permit me to reshare. Meanwhile, while I'm bringing up the slide, if you have questions, if you have comments, feel free to go ahead and ask me. If you have contributions, feel free to bring it on. So in your class presentation or your project presentation, you could choose any aspect of HRM and then try to work on the practice. So somebody can choose to work on HR information system, and then you use it to develop and structure your organization in full, and then show us what you've done. Another person can work on the performance information system as it applies to your organization, right? And then you show us. You present to us. Our work here now is to review what you've done and then discuss that. Then that will be that. Okay. All right. So you find your own area, but please, any area you're picking, make sure is an area of application, not just for the purpose of knowledge sharing, but for hands-on also, hands-on experience. Any area you're picking, there must be hands-on experience. There must be hands-on experience. Okay. We can also decide to default our classwork by asking you to use your HR information system to do your own work. Okay. Now, moving forward on these HR processes, explaining the processes, the strategic processes, they are focused on aligning HR practices with the overall strategic goals of the organization. They include developing HR strategy, succession planning to ensure the availability of future leaders, and organizational development to enhance the organization's capacity for change and growth. They have the talent management processes. Okay, like I said, under the HRM function, where we talk about recruitment and selection, I said in current time we talk more of our concern when it comes to recruitment and selection is now focusing more on talent. Talent. Another word for talent is asset. Asset. And in the definition of asset, asset is something that you procure for the purpose of generating economic value. Did you get what I just said now? Asset is what you procure for the purpose of generating economic benefits. Now, in some other instances, they will tell you economic and non-economic benefits. But one thing about assets is that it has the capacity to produce returns on investment. It has the capacity to do what? Produce returns on investment. So when we deal with talent management, we're actually dealing with asset management. But the asset here now is the talent, the individual we are dealing with. I hope you get the concept of talent management here. We are dealing with talent management as management of asset. The individual is what we consider as asset. So if you were to buy a property, it simply means before you let go of your money, you have to do due diligence, right? That's the same process we're asking you to do when it comes to talent management. Before you recruit anybody, you know that you are going to do due diligence to make sure there's going to be a return on investment. And let me also say, by virtue of business knowledge, different assets have different degrees of return on investment. You have assets that you get now, they give you return on investment within 24 hours. And you can agree with me on that. You have assets that within 7 working days or 5 working days, they give you return on investment. However, there are also assets that you buy 30 days return on investment. There are some You have 365 days return on investment. There are some, you have 7 years return on investment. But one thing about talent management is that we don't just want to have a return on investment and then we say we are done, a one-off return on investment. What we want to have is cumulative effect. You know what is called cumulative effect? Cumulative effect is such that you have made your return on investment, but we want that particular asset to keep producing recurring benefit. That's the whole concept of talent management. So you have someone coming in and you identify the person as a talent by first recognizing that that person is an asset. You're procuring the person today with a cost, but you are definite that that cost, there is going to be, the person is going to produce much more economic benefit that in no distant time will return whatever cost that was born and then start producing returns, profitable returns to you. So you have to identify people in terms of disregard as the form of asset, not just recruiting people, no, but see them as assets. Now, what this means is that your recruitment process has to be followed with due diligence. And when we get to recruitment and selection, we will look at some particular case studies. Take, for instance, if you want to get a job in Shell today, or let me say any of the guys, the big boys in the oil and gas industry, you follow nothing less than 3 phases of the recruitment process. First, you will do your online test to ascertain your computer literacy. Number 2, you do your oral online test, where they will still test you on aptitude, competency, attitude, skills, knowledge, and all of that. They will still test you. Check for your ability to answer as talent. They will review all of that before they will bring you physically to interact one-on-one. Now, if you look at the streamline of activities they've done, they've reduced costs in a very dramatic way. So if you follow the first step, you did not pass, there is no need of coming to the second stage. So the cost that they would have used in managing 1 million people recurringly, maybe for 31 days, they will manage 1 million applicants. You follow the first step, they have 400 applicants remaining. They follow the second step, they have 20 applicants remaining. So they only invite 20 people, rather than saying 1 million people submit your application to so. You see how the talent management process can go a long way in becoming a strategic imperative, drafting the opportunity for maintaining competitive edge for organizations. And that's why those kind of organizations, they can go as high as paying you any amount, because now they know that any amount they spend on you, there's going to be a return on investment. Those that have challenge paying the requisite amount or negotiating peanuts and all of that is because they don't follow talent management processes. They only follow the default recruitment process. Everybody submit your CV, and then you lock some people in some room and share CVs to them and ask them, if this people doesn't have this, take this out. Those are more like Adam's period. Okay, we have current contemporary period that you and I are living. And please note that we are no longer living now, we are living in the future. I hope you understand that. The current reality is that the business environment, we are not just living now. Those that are trying to live now are gone. We are living now in the future. So the reality of our now environment is actually living in the future. All right, so this is very, very important. Then you understand the aspect of employee performance processes. I've talked about this also using the concept of performance information system. You have processes that can also streamline what your performance activities, streamline your performance activities and reduce cost, reduce risks, reduce pressure, reduce all of those things, and make sure that you have results. Okay. They will have the compensation and benefits. Their work is to design and administer remuneration programs effectively. Okay, everything about remuneration, everything about benefits. Okay, there you have the employee relations and compliance. The relations in form of what relations exist in the organization, what kind of relationship exists in the organization. Now, what is the internal and external dimensions of relationship? They discuss that under the employee relations. So internally, we have the lines and staff. And then externally, we have the vertical relationships or the vertical relationship. So between the organization and the labor unions, the trade unions, the government agencies, the regulatory bodies. Okay, that's an external relationship. And all of those are part of employee relations. For instance, head of service in Nigeria made it mandatory that every admin staff must professionalize. What they are now trying to do is establish a relationship between the administrative staff and also some other players of the HR environment, but now in the external environment, no longer in the internal. You understand that? Okay. Then you have the HR technology processes. I've talked about the HR information system, performance management system, several of them that we'll talk about, HR analytics, data analytics, and all of that. We will be looking at different things as we progress, especially we will try as much as we can to create a blend. Okay, we'll create a blend between the HR information system or application of the knowledge we'll be gathering to its imperative in the HR information system. All right. And then we'll have that of the transition processes. You talk about the knowledge transfer, retirement, departures, and all of that. Okay. Now, quickly, let's look at HRM versus personnel functions. What's the relationship between HRM? What's the distinction between HRM and personnel functions? So we'll look at it in terms of aspects. The first is on the focus. Personnel functions focus on administrative tasks, such as payroll, benefit administration, and compliance with labor laws. Remember I said that HRM is an improvement on personnel administration. Remember I said that. So HRM does not exclusively rule out personnel assignment, no, or administrative assignment, no. Rather, it improved on them. So by default, the focus of personnel, the personnel functions, it focuses more on the administrative levels, but the human resource functions focus more on the strategic levels, alignment of business goals, strategic alignment with business goals, employee development, and enhancing employee engagement and retention. Now, on the aspect of role, the administrative functions or the personnel functions, they work more as support functions. They are not seen as the strategic partner in achieving organizational goals, so they serve more as support. So if they are serving as support, performance wasn't their priority. And that's why in those days, in the public sector, somebody can come from work for months and never come to work, and yet he still receives salary. Because the role of admin then was much more like what? A support function. Okay? Was more, in fact, almost everybody was trampling on the admin. But now the new innovation is that admin is on top, or perhaps the HRM is on top. Every other person takes the instruction from that department. If you refuse to take instruction from HRM, then anything you see, you collect. Okay, because they are the chiefs. Okay, they are not just chiefs, they are now in the category of high chiefs. Okay, they are in the category of high chiefs. All right. For instance, part of HRM today in Nigeria is what they call IPPIS. That's for those in the civil service. Then you have the UTAS for those in their payroll management system. Okay, now just imagine you went there. You know, there have been these cases of maybe somebody's salary was omitted. You go to IPPIS. Even if you don't know what it means to be humble, by the time you get there, you just learn humility by force because you need your money. Okay. So this is part of the chieftaincy responsibilities of human resource. Then on the HRM is strategic partner in achieving organizational goals. HRM is involved in strategic planning and decision making. On employee relations, on the aspect of employee relations, often a more paternalistic approach focused on maintaining discipline and order, like your father in your house, okay, who makes sure that there is order, paternalistic approach. But on the HRM function, it emphasizes on employee engagement, empowerment, and creating a positive work culture. On technology, it relied more on manual processes for HR tasks, for personnel. But HRM, with that of HR information systems and ATS systems and employee portals. Okay, some organizations have even gone as far as having employee portals where you can log in. Okay, I saw that with one of the agencies, that's NCAA, Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority. I saw their employee portal and I was pleased. They have their performance portal, they have their employee portal, and I felt like these guys are doing so much. They are, okay, let me not say so much, but they are doing well when it comes to HRM today. Okay, so they have their HR information system all put in place. They have their website, they have their portals, and different things all together. Now, on globalization, personnel function has less emphasis on managing diverse workforce across different cultures and locations. But for HRM, it focuses on diverse work cultures, different people from different locations, with different cultures, with different labor laws, okay? Do you know that in Nigeria, as it were now, there had been this policy review that everybody should be paid in Naira. Everybody should be paid in Naira. But let us also realize that there are global policies, global HRM policies. We'll look at that by the time we get to HRM policies and all of that. When we look at global policies, there are international standards that tells you that you have to pay an expatriate according to the currency of his own country, parent country, not his host country. You get that? So somebody comes from US to Nigeria, you pay him in dollars. Somebody comes from Ghana to Nigeria, you pay him in dollars. Somebody comes from any other place to Nigeria, pay him in dollars. But it's expected that if you're a Nigerian in Nigeria, you should collect Naira. And these are global policies and functions of global conventions. So when you deal with HRM, do you know also that, just a little digression of globalization as it were, do you know that there have been a whole lot of reforms, trade reforms, to make sure that trades are facilitated in Naira? As far as Nigeria is concerned, trades are facilitated in Naira just to boost the economy and boost the capacity of the Naira in the forest market. However, with all of these trade policies going on, technology has still been making it almost impossible to have everybody abide by this. For instance, if I want to use Zoom, I still pay in dollars because there is no provision for Naira. But companies like Google, they've made provisions for you to pay in Naira. Companies like Zoho, they've made provisions for you to pay in Naira. Companies like HP, some of these big companies, but there are other companies that have refused to do so. So the question now is, what is the role of government in internationalization? What is the role of government in the facilitation of international trade? And let me tell you something. One of the most expensive things we trade on in the international environment is talent. Nigeria is one of the countries trading on talent. Every day we have massive immigration of people from Nigeria to any other part of the world. So we are trading talent. It was recorded by the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission. The remittance that is being done from outside of Nigeria in terms of the talents outside of Nigeria, there are Nigerians, is in billions of dollars. That's to tell you how important the role of government is in facilitating global HRM perspective. I hope you're understanding that. I hope you get this clearly. Okay, you're understanding this clearly, right? In case you don't understand, feel free to ask me a question. We'll discuss all of this. Everything we're going to discuss here, there are things that are daily. They're happening daily. Okay, they're happening daily. Okay, and then we discuss the one that have happened before. We discuss the ones happening, and we discuss the one that will possibly happen. Okay, that will be the circumference of our case studies. The ones that have happened before, the ones happening now, and the ones that will possibly happen. So we learn from the ones that have happened before to adjust to the ones happening now, and then modify for the ones that will come up later. All right, okay. Then on training and development, personnel functions, limited focus on employee development, training often seem as a cost rather than an investment. But on HR functions, emphasis is on continuous learning and development to enhance employee skills and capabilities. Training is seen as an investment in human capital. Yesterday, I did a submission. One of our fellows, who happens to be a director of human resource in one of the ministries, will be retiring by July 4th. And I think it was around April, May. She called our attention, and she said, all of the things you people have been teaching us, I want to apply them. Okay, I'm going to retire by July 4th, and I'm not even up to 60 years, but I'm retiring. Okay, she played by the professional rules, and that's a good one. Now she said, okay, as we are discussing, we said, what if you write a book? I said that would be a good idea. So she happened to be proactive. So one of the days she called and said she's instituting a committee to help her write a book. Then she requested that I be part of the group. And then I was given 3 topics to write on regarding retirement planning and retirement management. Of course, you understand that that's HRM function. Okay, right. So in the process of writing all of this, there is an area, the one I concluded on yesterday, was how to maximize your service period for adequate professionalization. Thanks to head of service in Nigeria for bringing up that move. If not, many people will enter service and leave, and they will be drained instead of being added to. I hope you get what I'm trying to say. Now, in the context of my argument on why you need to maximize your opportunity while in service is that for government as a case, why you are taking that leave to study, okay, of course, there are standards, there are procedures, there are policies for that, right? But being in service, you have almost 99% chance that you can apply for a study leave and you get it. Why don't take that opportunity to study for something that will be of benefit to you even after you retire? I've seen people who went to study law, they retired and became lawyers, practicing lawyers. I've seen people who went from research agencies like biotechnological agencies to go and study pharmacy, study something related to medicine. And after they returned, they went to med lab. So went to the pharmaceuticals, okay? I've seen people that went into educational administration. They use their time to go into educational planning, educational administration, even on to PhD level. And I've also seen people who have invested in professional development. They take their time, acquire the relevant certification that will make them better positioned as consultants tomorrow. These are just part of the benefits that HRM provides you, okay, while you are still in service. If you leave that organization, you will pay through your nose to get these things done. It was August last year, September, August last year, when we were having our induction. There was this director who had retired. He was from the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. He came to take a course on certified management consulting. And then he was saying that he retired and went back to school. So now he's taking a master's program in the university, and he's running professional programs as well with his own money, right? Meanwhile, these are things that he could have addressed while he was still in service and would have had much benefit. So instead of him coming to start afresh, he would have just come out to explore the opportunities available to him. And I'm just saying this for you to give it a consideration. Of course, by you being in this class, if you're in the public sector or private sector, you already understand the domain of where you're going to, but you can give it much more, make it much more intentional. Okay, draft for yourself, which certification do I think I want to end up with? And do I really want to become a consultant? What exactly do I want to get into? Consider yourself as an asset You need to produce economic benefit in the future. Don't just end up as a liability. You're drained and dusted and everything dies off. No. Get the better part of you by consistently improving yourself. Okay. Any question for me? Comments, contributions? Any question? Any comments? Any contributions? If not, let me start summarizing. So I'm going to look at HRM core principles. And it's just like a summary of all of what we'll be doing. There is strategic alignment, focus on people, focus on competence and performance, fairness and equity, compliance with labor, and continuous improvement. Even if I don't go ahead talking about all of this again, I think with all of the explanations we'll be making, they are just simple to understand. Strategic alignment, make sure that you have the right people to suit into the organization for the purpose of achieving the organizational goals. People must be aligned to the organization. HR strategies must align with business strategies. That's what we're trying to say. A focus on the people. Make sure that you have the right people within the organization, people with the right competencies, people with the right attitudes, with the right behaviors, and of course, people with the right mindsets. Okay, then we'll look at competence and performance. Whenever we set out performance, performance is driven by competence. So make sure that there is an alignment between performance and competence, and then every other thing follows suit. Okay, so please permit me, when you get this material, you can take the time to read the explanations that follow through, right? I believe with all of what we've been saying, this is understandable. Now, HR skill sets. HR skill set. As a HR professional, you need these skill sets. Very, very important. You have the core HRM skills, technical HRM skills, people skills, analytical skills, business acumen skills, legal and ethical compliance skills, change management skills, and the strategic thinking skills. So let's quickly look at what each of them talk about. In the core HRM functions, we consider things like communication, problem solving, ethics, and decision making. So you must have those skills. We have a section where when we look at organizational design, we'll still look at leadership, communications, conflict. We'll look at those things. And then you will understand what we mean by communication. Under the technical HRM, every aspect of HRM is technical. Every aspect, from recruitment to exit, they are all technical. So you need to find out the technicalities involved. Remember that I kept talking about talent management. So if you must be a person with focus on talent management, that means you have to grow the technicalities involved in managing. First of all, recognizing that the person you're even bringing in is an asset, and then having to maximize your investment in this asset to produce the best benefit for you now and in the future, continuously. With the imperative of talent management, very, very soon, we will not be talking about retirement. We will not be talking about retirement. We will not. Because, for instance, just note what I'm saying now. It might not happen in the next 5 years or 10 years, but one day it will happen. That we will give people the opportunity. Anytime you're ready to go, you go. Provided you're still an asset, we'll keep you here. We will not tell you to go. In most countries, it applies. But in some other countries, especially the African countries, it doesn't. In Africa, we limit, because one of our major problems in Africa is unemployment. So one of the ways we manage unemployment is to create retirement, make compulsory retirement, okay? So you reach a certain age or a certain service limit and say you're due for retirement. What we're actually doing is just a tactics to fill in the gap, bringing people, the unemployed, to also come and have some leverage, okay? But ordinarily, by the time we get to that point, that unemployment is drastically reduced, we will now begin to understand the value of 35 years of experience, 30 years of experience, 20 years of experience. We'll begin to understand the value. In the academic world, you finish, you retire, they bring you back. They give you other positions, other assignments, because your intellect at that point is invaluable. Your competency, your knowledge, and your skills at that point, they are invaluable. So we need to grow in these domains, all right? Then you have the people skills, like the leadership, conflict resolution, empathy, emotional intelligence, team building, and all of that. Then you have the analytical skills, the people analytics or HR analytics. You have the HR matrix and all of that. And you have the business acumen. We talked about the business and HR business partner. So for you to be able to function as a HR business partner, you must upgrade your knowledge. You must upgrade your experience in business. Okay. And you have the legal and ethical compliance, the knowledge about laws, regulations, ethical standards. Don't say it doesn't concern me. Don't say it doesn't concern me. What they are doing there doesn't concern me. Get the knowledge of industry relations. Get the knowledge of labor unions, labor laws, and make sure you apply them. You have the change management. We are in an ever evolving world, so you cannot be in another world. The world we are now is changing seriously. Okay, the world we are now is the world that you bought something 5 naira yesterday, you come back tomorrow is now 50 naira, and you cannot do anything about it. It's a world of continuous change. All right. Then you have the strategic thinking. The strategic thinking. You must learn to become a prophet of your own self. You must learn to become a prophet of your own self. You must take hold of your future through strategic thinking. Okay, you must take hold of your future through strategic thinking. In the same way as a HR, you must take hold of the future of your organization. You know, if your organization fails, as a HR, you are the one that failed. You are the cause of that failure because you are the one responsible for people management. So any organization that fails, go back to HR. They know what happened. They know what happened. Okay. All right. This is where we are going to call it a timeout for today. We've had a good time today, and our class continues tomorrow by 10 a.m. Nigerian time. 10 a.m. Nigerian time. If you're joining us from Ghana, it's 1 p.m. Ghana time. Now, for the people joining outside of Nigeria and Ghana, please, we sincerely recommend that you pay attention to the WhatsApp group so that you can always get updated, or you just find a way to calculate the time difference. This is part of internationalization, okay? All right. Thank you so much. Any question, any comment, any contribution? Now, for today, we made our class open. In case you've not made your payments, you are expected to make a minimum deposit of 50,000 naira or $50 to be able to get the full course, okay, the full benefit of the course. The course is currently running on discount, so we encourage you to make the most of it. So between now and tomorrow morning, we expect that you should have made your necessary payments, and then you can have the full benefit of the course. Okay. All right. Any question, any comment? Please note 10 a.m. tomorrow. So our class is 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. tomorrow. So we have break in between. We have 1 hour break in between.